Yeah. You know, that may not mean much to very many people, but if your car quits you on the side of the road, it'll mean a lot to you. I talk to my car. I tell it I appreciate it being a good, dependable, steady car. I appreciate it taking me where I need to go and getting me there on time and bringing me home on time. And so I want to encourage you. Let's just set aside time and start celebrating. Celebrate. We don't have to wait till time for a birthday. Somebody's having a birthday somewhere in the world. Just celebrate it. You know, we just need to find out something to get happy about all the time. Make the devil upset. Walk around with a smile on your face. He's going to try to figure out, what are they smiling about? I smell. I don't smell. I'm smiling because I don't smell. I'm smiling because my bath water runs. I'm swallowing because I can still brush my teeth. You know, we just need to look at things to celebrate. But you know, we're living in the last days. We know that. We hear a lot about it. But when we look at Scripture, we can say we know the truth of it. Now I want you to pull up 2 Timothy chapter 3 on the Passion Translation. I've got it here on the King James. But I want to read that to us from the Passion Translation because it opens up some things for us here. But it's no longer a struggle, a battle of bad against good. It's become a battle against the spirit world, both worlds. It's become a battle of light and darkness. And it seems that, you know, if you look at things from the natural and not from the Word of God, it looks like Satan is winning. But he's not, because we're promised the victory. And we will win until we can leave this earth. And then after we leave this earth, I really don't care what happens here. You know, it can have what it wants to. But I want us to look here. But you need, begin at verse 1, but you need to be aware that in the final days, the culture of society will become extremely fierce. Verse 2. People will be self-centered, lovers of themselves, and obsessed with money. They will boast of great things as they strut around in their arrogant pride and mock all that is right. They will ignore their own families. They will be ungrateful and ungodly. They will become addicted to hateful and malicious slander. Slaves to their desires, they will be ferocious, belligerent, haters of what is good and right. With brutal treachery, they will act without restraint, bigoted and wrapped in clouds of their conceit. They will find their delight in the pleasures of this world more than the pleasures of the loving God. They will pretend to have a respect for God, but in reality, they want nothing to do with God's power. Stay away from people like this, for they are the ones who worm their way into the hearts of the vulnerable women, spending the night with those who are captured by their lust and steeped in sin. They are always learning, but never discover the revelation, knowledge of truth. Now think about that. Does that not describe the day that we're living in? Does that not, that pinpoints it down to where we're living at. But look at Isaiah 60 verse 2. For behold, the darkness shall cover the earth, and gross darkness the people. But the Lord will arise upon thee, and His glory shall be seen upon thee. Now, let me say this. If you're a candidate for what we're talking about here, for the Lord to shine on you and His glory to be seen among you, if you're a candidate for that, I want you to stand to your feet. I want you to stand to your feet. Because God is looking for candidates. God is looking for people that will be candidates. And He knows our hearts. Hebrews 4:12 is God is a discerner of the thoughts, hearts, and intents of the heart. He knows us. But yet, even though He knows us, He knows our need before we pray. But then He says, pray. Come before me. And there's so many times that we don't think about that. There's nothing like your Father, our Father, wanting His children to come before Him. Your son lives in Springfield. But it sure is nice when he comes to Anderson, you know, and brings that pretty little lady with him. And I told him, I said, don't take it wrong, but she's prettier than you are. Yeah, but you know, that doesn't take anything away from him, because if you call him pretty, he may not like it. He's supposed to be handsome, you know. So think about this. You're a candidate for His light to shine upon and for His glory to be shown. You're a candidate for this. That makes you somebody important to God. Think about that. We don't think about these things sometimes. But I look at that and I think, you know, we are important to you, Father. You can be seated now, now that you made your dedication there. The Better Bible English reads like this: For truly the earth will be dark, and the peoples veiled in blackest night. But the Lord will be shining on you, and His glory will be seen among you. That darkness is the dark, the dark. It's misery. It's misery. I was watching a documentary here the other day, and it's talking about a place, I believe it's up there in Alaska, up in the higher places up there. 6 months a year, it's dark. Now, you know, darkness doesn't bother me, but it's kind of nice to wake up in the morning and look outside and see daylight, you know. And I think, why would somebody want to live there? But they become accustomed to it. That's the problem in the world today. They have become accustomed to what's going on around about them. It also means misery, destruction, death, ignorance, sorrow, or wickedness. The gross darkness, gloom, as of a lowering sky. I remember one time we was in Hood River, Oregon. We'd flown into Portland and rented at least a car there and was out there for, I think, a little over a week. And we was going up on Mount Hood. I said, man, I want to go up on Mount Hood. We was going up on Mount Hood, and we come up here, and we drove right through the clouds. Drove right through the clouds. And got up there, and they're up there skiing in tank tops and shorts. And I look out there, and I'm thinking, I'm smarter than they are. I got out of my car, stood out here like this. Barb opened her door, put her foot out, put it back in. Let's go. She didn't like altitudes. I love the altitudes. We went back down from there, but I thought, drove through. Now, if you don't fly, Jack, you can look at this. When you get above those clouds, it just looks like you can step out on them and walk. Just like you could just step out on them. And I said, Lord, someday I'm going to walk on those clouds. I'm going to walk on those clouds. Just the beauty of them. And they just kind of look like little rolls of snow or something like that, little gray in them, little blue in them. But I think about that, and the gross darkness, gloom as a lowering sky. And so we know that there has always been a war between light and darkness. Natural darkness is where there is no light. True darkness is where God is not present. That's what's going to be here when we're taken out of this place. Genesis 1:1, in the beginning God created the heaven and the earth. And the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. That darkness is, once again, it's that darkness, that destruction, that death, that ignorance, that sorrow, that wickedness, that obscurity. You can't see good. You can't see good in it. And tonight I thought about using some kind of theatrical things darkness, but to too much light outside, just to have it dark outside and then turn off all the lights in here, and then everybody just sit here and see how long. Even here, we won't be comfortable sitting in the dark all the time. That's why God designed man to sleep at night. His eyes were closed at night. His eyes were closed at night. Verse 3, and God said, let there be light. And there was light. Now look what verse 4 said. And God saw the light that it was good, and God divided the light from the darkness. So that means that darkness and light don't go together. They don't mix together. Okay? That divided is to divide, to separate, to distinguish, to differ, to select, or put difference or sever out. John 1:1, look at this. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. The same was in the beginning with God. All things were made by Him, and without Him was not anything made that was made. In Him was life. Now look at this. And the life was the light of men. Now see, when we're up and moving, we don't have a red light on us that shows that we're awake or the power's going or something like that. But that gets it. And the light shineth in darkness, and the darkness comprehended it not. There was much confusion when Jesus was walking the earth here. There was much confusion amongst the religious people. They didn't like it because He was a threat to them. One of the top leaders, it is written in the Talmuds, that the only thing that really concerned them is that this Jesus was going to bring great division amongst the Jewish people. That's one of the things that concerned them. They was going to lose their power. Right now in the world today, there is people looking for power at any way they can get it. They don't care about the light. They don't care whether it's daylight or darkness. But they're looking for power. So that comprehended, and the light shineth in darkness, and the darkness comprehended it not. That comprehended is to take it eagerly, grab hold of it, seize it, to possess it, to apprehend, to come upon or find or obtain. The Passion Translation says, life came into being because of Him, for His life is light for all humanity. We have something to take to the world that maybe we don't always think about. We have light to take to the world. The world is walking around in darkness out there. But the verse 5 says, and this living expression is the light that bursts through gloom, the light that darkness could not diminish. The Amplified reads on verse 5, and the light shines on in the darkness, for the darkness has never overpowered it, put it out or absorbed it, or appropriated it, and is unreceptive to it. So remember, light always has authority over darkness. That's why I say I wanted to do a little theatric and have all the lights off and set it in here, and just sit in here for a couple of minutes. But when we turn off the lights, they're down like that. Now the light, the darkness that Satan brings doesn't come just like that. He brings it a little at a time, kind of like a dimmer switch. A dimmer switch. And then I've got a little pin at home that's a little pin light. I keep getting those things in the mail. I've got 4 or 5. Would you like to have one of those pins? Little pin running around here like this. You're looking around for hair. No. But there's a little pin. And I wanted to walk over here in a corner and turn that little light on. Because scientists tell us, I've said this before, but I want to say it again. Scientists tell us that under normal conditions, the light of one match can be seen 10 miles away. Now think about that. 5,280 feet per mile times 10. Okay? 52,800 feet down there. That's the knoll. Under normal conditions, all things being equal, everything being flat, you can stand outside the church here and everything flat, and you can stand outside and in knoll they can see your light. Now that is really something to think about, how important light is. How important it is. what authority light has. And if we begin to turn lights off, it gets a little darker, a little darker, a little darker. And that's the way that things are with the powers of Satan. Okay? Now, John 3:19. And this is the condemnation, that light is come into the world, and men love darkness. Whoa! Men love darkness rather than light, because this is why. Their deeds were evil. Their deeds were evil. Condemnation from the Greek is accusation, damnation, judgment. They loved it, to love in a social or moral sense. That darkness there from the Greek is shadiness, obscurity, destitute of light, not easily understood. I'm having a problem understanding the light of the world, of the Word. I'm just not catching hold of this. It's just not shining bright to me. That deeds is the toil, the works that they do. The Amplified reads on 3:19, John, the basis of the judgment, indictment, the test by which men are judged, the ground for the sentence lies in this: the light has come into the world, and people have loved the darkness rather than and more than the light, for their works, deeds were evil. They were evil. Now, I don't mind telling you, I don't like to sleep with the light on. I like the light turned off. Okay? Now, if you like the light turned on, that's fine. You know, you come to my house, you're going to sleep around in my house, we're going to turn the light off. I come to your house, you want to leave it on? I'm just going to pray and hopefully I'll drift off to sleep. But we're going to deal with something there. John 8:10. When Jesus had lifted up himself and saw none but the women, he said unto her, Woman, where are those thine accusers? Hath no man condemned thee? She said, No man, Lord. And Jesus said unto her, Neither do I condemn thee. Go and sin no more. Then spake Jesus again unto them, saying, I am the light of the world. He that followeth me shall not walk in darkness, but shall have the light of life. So the Amplified on verse 12, once more Jesus addressed the crowd. He said, I am the light of the world. He who follows me will not be walking in the dark, but will have the light which is life. Verse 13, the Pharisee saith, therefore said unto him, Thou bearest record of thyself, thy record is not true. Jesus spoke and answered and said unto them, Though I bear record of myself, yet my record is true. For I know whence I came and whither I go. But ye cannot tell whence I come and whither I go. And I'm not going to take away or from the word or add to it, but they were in darkness. They were in darkness there. Luke 11:34. The light of the body is the light. The eye. The light of the body is the eye. Now, stop for just a moment. Everybody look at me. I want you to close your eyes. Just close your eyes. What do you see? Nothing. Why? It's dark. Why? Because the eye is the light of the body. Your eyesight is poor. It's not as bright. I've been wearing these ever since I was about 12 years old. Can you see without them? Yeah, I can see. I haven't run into any doors lately. I can read. Okay. The light of the body is the eye. Therefore, when thine eye is single, thy whole body also is full of light. And when thine eye is evil, thy body also is full of darkness. But this helps me. This helps me. This helps me. This is what helps me. This helps me. This gives light to my light of my eyes. Okay, the light. It's kind of like a portable lamp or an illuminator and a candle. Remember back in biblical days, they didn't have the candles the way we have them. They didn't have the wick in them. They didn't burn all the time. They was dangerous because they might let it burn, and if they was living in some of the homes that the poor people lived in, and that thing burnt down and then flowed off into the floor, it could burn their homes down. Well, some areas in Rome, it burnt the whole city, the whole part of that city out because of one little candle burning down like that. But we don't have that. Full of light, lustrous, transparent, and well illuminated, bright. Look at your neighbor and say, that's talking about you. You're bright. Hallelujah. But 35, take heed therefore that the light which is in thee be not darkness. Now, I've read that for years. Take heed therefore that the light which is in thee be not darkness. Just don't make a whole lot of plain sense. The light is in you, be not darkness. But then I thought about it. Is it the true light? Is it the true light that's in us? Is it darkness? Is that darkness? Why are we allowing that darkness to be in us whenever we have access to the light? Why would we sit at home in the darkness whenever we've got access to the light switch? I'm not an electrician, but I sure know how that switch works. Flip, 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 flip. I got a light in my closet. I just pull the little cord and it just says, hello down there. Hello down there. Could it be that the darkness Jesus is speaking of in this verse is a different darkness than just the absence of light? Just maybe this darkness is the absence of God. Think about it. This darkness is the absence of God. Verse 36, if thy whole body therefore be full of light, having no part dark, the whole shall be full of light, as when the bright shining of a candle doth give thee light. That phrase doth give thee light. It's to shed rays, to shine, or to brighten up. To brighten up. Sometimes I like to be outside. I haven't done this in quite a while. I like to be outside and it's not real bright dark, and I just like to go out there and light a candle and just sit on my front porch. And just me and the Spirit of God just sit out there on the front porch. And that's enough light for me to see what I want to see. So what happens? To shine or brighten up, to enlighten, to illuminate, to bring to or give light or make to see. The Passion Translation again reads on verse 36, if your spirit burns with light, fully illuminated with no trace of darkness, you will be a shining lamp, reflecting the rays of truth by the way you live. Now listen to me. We don't know how many people are watching us. We have no idea how many people are watching us. We have no idea how many people know our lives. We have no idea. I have people come by and said, I haven't been seeing you on your front porch very much lately. I said, well, it's just too doggone cold. It's too cold. But think about it. They drive by and they're used to seeing me on my front porch. That blesses me. I had one lady stop by one day and she said, oh, thank God you're here. Oh, I was praying. I was hoping. I haven't been feeling well. I was hoping that you would be out here on your front porch. She came up there and I said, come here and I'll pray for you. And I prayed for her. Talked to her for a few moments there and she went down the porch there. She told me a few days later, she said, before I got into my car, I was healed. I said, well, to God be the glory. There's people that you pray with that you know that they're not losing their faith. As you pray for them, you lay hands and you pray for them, it's almost like it's pushing back against you. That's why sometimes I say, and that doesn't mean I'm judging or anything, sometimes I say, will you receive? Will you receive? Get them to the place that they're off of this thing here, off of the problem, off of the matters going on, and setting themselves to receive. Yes, I will receive. And they will receive. That isn't judging anybody. That's just getting them to the place. Now look at the Phillips translation on this. Verse 34, the lamp of your whole body is your eye. When your eye is sound, your whole body is full of light. But when your eye is evil, your whole body is full of darkness. So be very careful that your light never becomes dark. For if your whole body is full of light, with no part of it in shadow, it will all be radiant. It will be like having a bright lamp to give you light. John 12:46. I am come a light into the world, that whosoever believeth on me shall not abide in darkness. So think about it. When you go home tonight, whether the sun's out or not, you're not abiding in darkness. You go to bed, you turn off the lights, you go to bed, you're not abiding in darkness, because you're the light to the world. The Amplified reads, I have become as a light into the world, so that whoever believes in me, whoever cleaves to and trusts in and relies on me, will not continue to live in darkness. So I want to say to you, welcome to the fullness of light. Welcome to the fullness of light. Receive it and find out. Look for it. Seek God, and He will show you the light switch to your light, where you can turn it on or you can let others turn it off. Make the decision, I will not live like that. I will not live like that. That whosoever believeth on me should not abide in the darkness. God's elect themselves, whilst in the state of unregeneracy and unbelief, are in darkness. When Christ shines in upon them and infuses the light of faith into them, they are no longer in darkness. The darkness is past. I want you to do this. Put your hand up here like this. Way bye-bye to darkness. Way bye-bye to darkness. The darkness is past, at least in a great measure, and the true light shines, in which they see light, see glory and grace of Christ, and the invisible realities of another world. And that's what people are looking for today. They're looking for something that they don't know what they're looking for, but we have it. It's called the light of God. We are the light of God. So I want to encourage you, this week, look for an opportunity to shine your light in somebody else's life. An encouragement. Don't be afraid to ask people, can I pray for you? Is it all right if would it be all right if I pray for you? I've not had anybody yet say, well, I'd really rather you didn't pray for me. Oh, well, then go to hell then. A lady said that to me one time. I don't want to receive Jesus. And I said, well, then go to hell. And I wasn't cussing her. That's where she was going. Hey, you have an opportunity to get out of where you're living. You don't like where you're living? Grab the opportunity and get a hold of it and let it pull you out of that place. Let it pull you out of that place. Because God has something better. And those of you on streaming, I want to tell you something. First thing I want to do is say, hello, my beautiful granddaughter Karen. Daughter, I love you. Thank you for being online with us. She's there in the Philippines. God bless you all. We'll be back here Wednesday evening, 7 p.m.